Hi, I'm Rachel White with Horizon League here with Paul Rice, the head cross country coach at Oakland. So, first, coach, what have you been up to? How have you been staying busy over the last couple of months?
Well, like most of us, we're doing everything we can to be creative and work remotely here. But it's funny. People ask me that quite frequently, and I always say, in my line of work and our line of work as track coaches, and this is our 15th year with our track program at Oakland. I feel like for 15 years, I've been uh, generally about 2 to 3 months behind on everything we do because it's literally impossible to just keep up with everything with the number of student athletes we manage and the number of duties we have on a daily basis. There's just not enough hours in the day. So it's been kind of interesting to start chipping away at some of the stuff that we kind of put on the back burner a lot of times, or maybe we don't get to it until July or August. And then as we're getting to it, we're starting in the next year. So playing some catch up has been more kind of the mode I've been in, and obviously planning for next year with a lot of uncertainty, but keeping the athletes focused on the potential of what's to come, and also trying to make sure that we're all sending the right messaging that things are going to be different. So a lot of creative thinking, but I have not been I've not had a tough time staying busy, that's for sure. So.
That's good. And how have you been able to keep in touch with all the different athletes that you guys have in cross country and track?
Well, a lot of this stuff, the Zoom calls are very popular. We actually, with the cross country athletes, we have a couple different running log things that we use. We use something called Strava, which is kind of social media for runners. So it logs your daily running, and if you have a Strava account, you can make comments on there, and we can see what people are doing. So it's one way we keep up with each other. We also have Google. I created like a Google spreadsheet that they log on a weekly basis, so we can kind of see on a weekly basis what they're up to, how they're feeling, if there's any issues they're having. But text messages, emails. But we actually are really enjoying the Zoom calls. It's funny. I've never done this stuff before. This is all so new to me. I'm not a real tech savvy guy, but it's been a lot of fun to see people and see faces, and it makes me wonder why we never did it before. I mean, in the summer you can't see your athletes, minus the COVID pandemic. There's in the past, it's not like we see them on a daily basis or a weekly basis in the summer, so we could have been doing this stuff all along, which I think even after everything calms down and we get back in that mode of being back to some kind of normal, we'll probably still do stuff like this, because it is really neat to see people and not just correspond through email and phone calls. So, but we've done some fun things. We had I've been trying to keep it light with the team calls, not all business all the time. So we did a trivia game. We had a team trivia game one day with the men and the women separately, because there's so many athletes. But I came up with a bunch of trivia questions that are Oakland University related, Oakland track and cross country related, history type stuff. We got our incoming freshmen involved in it, and I separated them into teams, and we had a competition. So that was a lot of fun, and we did some exercises also with some of our Zoom meetings where you ask them to come up with a word that best describes their way of handling adversity, just trying to get them to feed off of each other a little bit. So we've been doing some fun things, and we have something coming up here in a couple weeks that we're going to do, and I have to put it all together still, but we're going to have our incoming freshmen all on a Zoom call with their cap and gowns. And we're going to have like kind of a congratulatory mini, I don't want to say graduation, but all these high school seniors, none of them got their graduations, unless there may be a drive-through graduation or something like that. So we're going to do just a celebration for our incoming freshmen that are graduating from high school, to welcome them into the program, let them wear their cap and gown, and maybe introduce each other to, introduce themselves to each other, talk about what they're going to major in, and just kind of make something fun out of it. So we've been trying to be creative, that's for sure.
That's great. Is there a thing that you're most looking forward to doing when things are more normal, or a place you're really looking forward to going?
Yeah, I think the thing that if there's one thing I had to pick that I look forward to, My son is my middle child, and he's graduating from high school. And last week was his last day of school. But usually, most families, when you have a big moment like that, you go out and celebrate. You go to a restaurant and you have a big dinner. Maybe you have some friends with you. I look forward to going out with my family and picking a nice restaurant in downtown Rochester and celebrating my son's high school graduation. These kids are losing out on so much fun in their senior year of high school. And, for me, this whole thing has really hit home because I have a high school senior at home. I have a daughter who is, my oldest is on the team at Oakland as a track athlete and cross country athlete. And then I have an 8th grader that is going from 8th grade to high school, and she missed out on her 8th grade celebration and all this stuff. So, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is just having a family day to go out, have some dinner at a nice restaurant, maybe go get some ice cream afterwards and just walk around downtown Rochester, which is a beautiful community that we live right near. So that's probably number one on my list.
Awesome. And I mentioned it before, I think, but you're the chair of our cross country and our track coaches. So I know you guys have been in communication. What kind of things are you guys talking about or really focusing on right now?
Well, yeah, we meet every couple weeks through Zoom. Again, nice meeting to see all the coaches. It's, we have a little fun as we're talking as well and goof around. But probably on the more serious note right now for us is we go around the horn and talk about what we've heard about our campuses and what the process might look like for reopening. And I would say, some of the addiction I've come up, I had, some addictions through this whole pandemic and things we get hooked on. One of the things I got hooked on top of TV shows and stuff like that is the D1 ticker. And it's interesting to read that every day and see what other campuses are doing. But it's also interesting to hear what the other Horizon League schools are talking about. And, one of the topics that's not Horizon League related lately has been the move to the NCAA is going to start making some moves and some potential changes to the sport of cross country with the regional format and the qualifying for the NCAA championships. And it probably will get to a point soon here where the format is going to change a lot, where for cross country, your conference or league championships will be what feeds you into your regional, like other sports, which cross country is very unique. We just go to our regional where we don't have to qualify for it. It's the road to the national meet, but it's not a qualifying process. So some of that stuff there, we have a call next Thursday. That's going to be a hot topic because it's starting to really get circulated now with the regional change that might be coming and how does it affect Power 5 versus mid-majors and what does that look like for us? So, but most importantly, getting together, see those coaches. It's a lot of fun to see those faces, see how long their hair is or what kind of beard they have that week. And it's a neat thing to spend some time together, through all this. And it's, again, the same thing. We don't see each other more than 3 times a year in person. So the fact that this is all happening is pretty neat because we're seeing each other more often.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And why did you get into coaching? What is it that you love about doing this every day?
It's a funny, I guess not funny story, but it's an interesting story with me. I ran cross country at Oakland in the early 90s, 90 to 93, way before we started our track program. And my coach, who I had, resigned in 95. A couple of years after my eligibility was done, and I was still plugging away. I didn't have my degree yet. I had a couple classes left, and so he resigned, and I went over to the AD. I was working on campus full time and in a different capacity, but I went over to the AD and said, "Hey, I'd like this job. I'd love to help this program out." And I was, I think, 3 classes shy of graduating at that point, and working full time, plugging away part time with school. And he says, "Well, we're moving from D2 to D1. You got to have your degree. I can't hire you without your degree." And he's like, "As much as we'd love to hire you, it'd be great to get you in here. I can't make it happen." So they hired another guy, but that guy came to me and asked me to help him. So I spent 2 years as an assistant coach, 96 and 97. And in 97, I finished my degree and the new coach they'd hired resigned. So it was kind of like a timing thing was perfect for me. He resigned in November. I got my degree in December. They made me the interim in January of 98. And honestly, when that happened, I was like, this is going to be fun. We'll see how long it lasts. I never imagined we'd be talking, 22 years. I didn't go to school for coach, wanting to be a coach. I didn't get a degree in education or teaching. I had an HR degree. And, it was kind of an interesting journey to start with and see where we go, and working part-time as a Division I head coach. And then in 2005, finally got the president of the university to give us the thumbs up on starting a track program, which we had pushed for several years. So 2006, we started our track program, and I was the head of that program and started it up, outdoor program. At that point, became a full-time employee of the university, and 2 years later started the indoor track program, and I haven't looked back ever since. And it's an interesting thing because I've never coached anywhere else. I never coached high school. I've coached middle school with my kids for 10 years, but before I started coaching, I wasn't into it. I wasn't like this was going to be my path and journey. But honestly, after 22 years, I feel like I haven't given back what I got out of this program as a student athlete. And that's what really drives me, is making sure that every kid is getting everything that they can out of our program. And it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I really enjoy what I do, and I'm thankful for the opportunities that I have.
That's awesome. All right, now we're going to get into the more getting to know you type of questions.
Okay.
So the first one, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, I am a big Will Smith fan. So I love Will Smith. I think, I think all of his movies are great. Probably my favorites are the Bad Boys series with him and Martin Lawrence. Those are probably my favorite movies. I also, I guess I like the movies where there's a tandem. I like the Rush Hour movies with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Those are probably my favorite movies. Is those series of movies, and they're funny, they're action packed, and like I said, anything with Will Smith in it, I'm a big fan of.
Great. Do you have a favorite superhero?
I honestly, I really don't. I've never been into the comics or superheroes. I mean, my son is, and I know he loves Flash. So I would say I'm probably with him there. That's a pretty cool superhero, and it correlates with what we do. So if I had to pick one, I probably would say Flash, because I like how it lines up with what we do with our sport.
Makes sense. Do you have a favorite TV show to binge watch?
Yeah, it's not necessarily necessarily just my favorite, but in our house, Food Network is on a lot. It's interesting story through this whole shutdown and pandemic. My youngest daughter, who's 13, Abigail, she is an amazing baker, and she has been for many years. Well, she actually started her own little like gourmet sugar cookie business. And believe it or not, she's making money doing it. So we watch a lot of the cooking competition shows. The Kids Baking Championships is a favorite in the house. My wife is hooked on the Supermarket Stakeout. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yep.
So we watch a lot of that. And then Guy Fieri, his shows are awesome. We love watching those. And the comedy relief with the Worst Chef or the Worst Cook show.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have the celebrity edition. So so anything that's kind of like Food Network, food related is in our house very popular. There's Netflix shows and stuff like that we've dabbled in, but never really got hooked on. Jack Ryan, my son and I got hooked on the Jack Ryan series on Amazon Prime. So that's been a good one too. So, but yeah, it's mostly the food type stuff that's on TV in our house. So.
Nice. This is a good next question then. Favorite food?
Oh, well, I will have to admit I have a sweet tooth, and it has nothing to do with what's going on in my house right now. I've always had a sweet tooth. Anything dessert related for me, I'm a huge fan. It's like picking your favorite child. I can't pick my favorite dessert. There's so many good things that are out there and you can make. Anything that's sugary and has a nice sweetness to it, I am a huge fan. And My doctor would tell me that I shouldn't be and that my triglycerides are too high, but it's still something that's just in my bones, and I'm just hooked on the sweets. So that's we try to eat healthy otherwise. We do eat pretty healthy around our house, but now that I'm doing more of the shopping through my wife is working. She never stopped working through this whole thing, so I'm the one that's been home grocery shopping. So it's been challenging because maybe first time I went grocery shopping, it came home with a bunch of sweets, and then realized I can't do that. I got to start rationing things a little bit better. So I'm getting better at keeping things a little healthy. So.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite tradition that you do every year or every season with your team?
Well, things have changed a lot over the years. We've had traditions that have kind of come and gone. Something that we did the last couple of years, which I think they all really enjoyed, is between when we get ready for the indoor track championships at the end of February. That week leading into the championships, we're actually off school every year. It's a break week. It's a winter break week for us. So we started 3 years ago. I think we started taking a trip to the bowling alley, the local bowling alley. And we, with everything, you can't just go bowling. You can't just go do something. Everything has to be competitive. And that's kind of driven by me too. So I will split them up into teams. And, when we split our kids up into teams, you're talking about a track program that's got 100 athletes in it. And at the time, maybe, 60 or 70 are there at the bowling alley. If you let them do their thing, they're all going to go with their buddies and their little groups. So I like to make the teams up and split them up. So the distance runners are with sprinters and throwers and jumpers, and everybody on their team is a mixture of different people on the roster. So we started doing this bowling competition that week leading into indoor championships, which I think we'll continue to do in the future. It's a nice kind of just breaks up the week. There's no classes going on, so they're getting a little bored. And it gets that competitive juices flowing. So it's fun to see them in that environment. And then normally we play 2 games, and I have them all come up with a team name. They're very unique names. And then after game 1, I add up all the scores and we stop the bowling, and I make an announcement. Here's the teams, top 3 teams, and here's the top bowlers and who has the best, the top female and top male bowlers. And then it gets really competitive because we're like, oh shoot, we're in third. We got to try to win this thing. They get a little more serious, which is good going into championship week because we're getting those juices flowing a little bit. So that's probably something that we've put into place that we've continued, to do the last 3-4 years, and other things we've done with, trips off campus and team bonding. And that's a little more sporadic, not necessarily traditional, same thing every year. But the bowling thing for us is a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch. What's really great about that is it's really fun to watch the kids that are not good at bowling. It's fun to watch their teammates pick them up, and be like, oh, it's okay. Next time, try to knock one pin down, So it's fun to see them support each other and get involved with that, just having each other's back. And that's really, I think, a nice tone to set going into championship weekend. So that's a fun tradition for us. And obviously anything you do that's competitive is going to get them going. So.
That's awesome. All right, last question. Do you have a favorite community service activity that you've done with the team?
Yeah, we have quite a few actually, but my favorite one, and it may be because I'm just most heavily involved in it, we have a half marathon, 10K, 5K event that happens on our campus. And the half marathon starts on campus and then it runs in the community and comes back to campus, but the 5K and 10K stays on campus the whole time. We have a pretty large campus, over 1,400 acres, and there's a lot of land to cover. So I'm involved heavily with that event. I've helped to design the courses, but our entire team goes out and volunteers that morning of the run. It's on a Sunday morning, usually late September, and it's great because we got to get them out there at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and they're not happy when they get there. And we do it every year, and it's the same thing. They're like, oh, we got to be here again. And then I pump some donuts in them and give them some sugar, and some of them eat their fruit and bagels too. But then once they get out there and they start cheering for people, their job is to be on the course and navigate the runners. So I put them at important corners and really just spots where anybody could make a wrong turn. And we have so many athletes, it's easy to cover the whole course. But their job is to, keep them on the course, but they take it on themselves to really cheer people on, enlighten their day as they're running by. And some people are out there taking it real serious, and some people out there just walking and enjoying the event. So it's great for exposure for us. The weather's always really good that time of year. And I think it gives it gives our athletes a new respect for people that are just out there trying to be healthy, trying to support the community. And that event raises thousands and thousands of dollars a year for Oakland County, the Oakland County Health Initiative, which donates money to different things in the Oakland County. We have a very large county that we live in, things that could be related to kids fitness, health and wellness for the community. They give out mini grants for events that are health related. They've given us some mini grants for some of the things we've done with our program. But it was started by the Oakland County executive, Brooks Patterson, in memory of his son, Brooks, who he called Brooksy, who was killed in a snowmobile accident 12 years ago now, I think. And unfortunately, Brooks passed away too. But it's an event that's really got the community going now and really gotten the community backing it. Unfortunately, this year, it's probably going to be a virtual. It may not happen. So it could end up being one of those virtual races that happen. Hopefully it does, but it may not be as popular this year or as well attended, but we look forward to getting it back and strong and being involved in it like we have in the past. We've been doing that for about 12 years now.
That's awesome. We'll really appreciate you taking some time out today. It was great catching up with you and hearing everything that's going on with you.
I appreciate the opportunity. It was great seeing you, and best of luck to everybody getting into the summer and the fall, and everybody stay safe and be well.